What's cracking with it, gente? As you see, the takeover is real. This is the pinche rojo room. The red room, my boy's at work. So I was going to say, I'm going to hold it down for my boy. I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to hack his shit. I'm coming in. I'm sliding. I'm slashing. I'm dashing. You see who that is? That's Real Talk with Flacco. He's coming in with what?
A red fucking shirt for rojo.
And a whole lot of energy, right? So Trip Out, what we wanted to talk about, man, we wanted to bring you guys some different type of content. Something came across my feed a while back, and I felt that if for no other reason, it'd be perfect for the Rojo Room. It's a topic that Rojo would like to touch on. And it's something that me and Flacco, Flacco, he's got all the intelligence, he got all the fucking details. And I'm going to bring you what I bring you, which is I'm just here, right? Pay no attention to the cucarachas crawling on the wall. That's just what they do. They're the primos. Anyways, listen, let's talk about the Southsiders or Sureños, camaradas, whatever you want to call them, in Syria, right? I think that's a fucking topic that no one has touched on. I've always tripped on it. I've seen pictures about those with AKs and ARs and shit. Is it a fact, Flacco? I heard Vatos were over there in Syria.
It's a fact, man. You had a lot of people that were affiliated with the Armenian Power, right?
Okay.
Which is a strong faction that, in the 90s, somehow they started to bang Trece. Originally, they were like a faction of just a regular gang. But eventually they fell under the umbrella of the MA. You know what I'm saying? Very powerful group, but a lot of them got deported due to a lot of crimes that were going. It's just like the same thing with MS-13. As they were putting in a lot of crime, 18th Street, which had a lot of Salvadorians, they ended up deporting a lot of people to El Salvador. So what they did was a lot of these Armenian Power guys were putting in a lot of work out in the streets, committing crimes, bringing some of the rackets that they have over there in Syria, which is close to Russia, bringing it over here to the States. And so they started to deport a whole bunch of them. So there's a video of some guys, man, fucking just shooting at the enemy and shit. And fucking they're talking about, man, fucking Armenian Trece and power and woo, woo, woo. One of those guys allegedly passed away. Right? One of them's still alive, man. He actually has it.
And the kind of the backstory, I've touched on Armenian Power on my channel, and you have as well. You guys have as well, you and Rojo, on a Congress perspective. One of the things I wanted to touch on was they actually were a group that basically they were founded just like everybody else. They were getting oppressed. They moved into a predominantly Mexicano Chicano neighborhood. And Little Armenia, man, they were really doing their thing out there in the LA area. I think one of the Vatos got pulled as a member of the big organization. They did have a member. And I think that right there is when they could have been flying the Trece prior to that, but they showed their loyalty, their allegiance, and everything that goes into that towards that group, that organization. Armenian Power in LA, a very dangerous, vicious group, bro. Anything I've ever heard about them, they're with the business. They've been known to do a lot of kidnappings, allegedly, murders, just anything that goes into a gang, but on the next level. I mean, I've heard from a lot of Mexicanos, a lot of Southsiders. They'll tell you straight up, first and foremost, them Vatos from Armenian Power be functioning over there in the LA County jail.
Yeah. The trippy thing about the Armenians, right, is I have an uncle that's Armenian. Is that they could either be from Russia or Iran. There's no in between. They've migrated to different locations and so forth, man. So their bloodlines are a little bit of everything. That's why some of them will look a little bit almost like Hispanic, because they have some of the Middle Eastern bloodlines, but then they'll also have some of the Russian bloodlines, man. And over there, it's a whole different country. So that's all they know from their families. They've had there's been wars over there. There's been all kinds of stuff, man. So they're used to that lifestyle. So they come over here to this country. Some of them came at a young age and so forth, man. It's like a bicycle coming over here from Mexico, right? Yeah. You've got to adapt to your surroundings. But at the same time, you're still going to have your cultural bloodlines. You know what I'm saying? And their blood is war. You know what I'm saying? It's about respect and so forth. And so they've been able to infiltrate certain areas. And they also had, contacts back to their mother country. So either Russia or Iran. That's the interesting thing about them is, they migrated, the Armenians. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some would be in Iran and Iraq, and some would be over there in Russia. So they're a very, very interesting group. And the Armenian Power, man, they were no joke over there, bro. They were putting it down, bro.
Yeah, and I've heard I've talked to a couple of them, and I've talked to a lot of people, man, from the South Side that are from the LA area, the surrounding areas of their hood, their barrio. And they said, man, they're not to be played with that hood as a whole. They have a lot of ties to Russian mob activities.
Yep.
They have a lot of ties to the Middle Eastern activities. So they're very diversified in what they can do and what type of guerra they bring to the United States. I mean, these are people with warrior bloodlines, people that just don't give a fuck, people that traditionally have not had it great in their country. You know, they've always been in flux. So to come to the United States and to a prominently Chicano Southsider area and start to adapt and then eventually adapt to the Trece, man, you already know what they're about. They're doing shit on a different level. Kind of like the MS, where the MS are just, they're just different, you know?
I had a homeboy from my hood, right? He was a Syrian, right? A Syrian's a country that no longer exists. They were the first Christians. He grew up in Iraq. Hard life. His mom ended up killing. They came over here years before this, around this time Saddam Hussein did what he did back in 1990. His mom ended up getting killed over there. This dude, man, he would shave his head and do everything like to look like a cholo. He would look Mexican. But I'll tell you right now, that dude was with that action, bro. Straight up. He was with that business, bro. Because that's all they do over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's survival. It's a whole different type of, you know what I mean? And I remember when I first met him, people used to fuck with him and pick on him. Try to pick on him a little bit because he was new to the country. But as soon as he felt comfortable and adapted to the environment, oh, that motherfucker was with that action, bro.
You let the beast come out of him.
Oh, man. Oh, shit. My dad called me one time, man. He watched the fight. He got in a fight with like 5 Filipinos trying to rush him from this hood called Triple S. My brother was about 11 years old. My dad was right there, and my brother goes, "Oh, that's Flacco's friend." My dad told me, literally, my dad called me and goes, "Man, your homeboy knocked out 5 Filipinos."
He was
like it was nothing.
He was on his
man, he was knocking him out. It wasn't no 31 or 32. No, I mean, he dropped like 5 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And hey, I've seen it. You know what? It's funny that you say that. I have a homeboy, and I grew up with this guy my whole life, and he knows exactly who he is. I know he's watching my shit from a distance, but I never knew he wasn't Mexican. He had the features of a Mexican. He looked like a Mexican. I always thought he was Mexican. I mean, my whole life, I never knew. One time, we had to go to his mom's pad. He had to pick some clothes up or something over there. And when I walked into his mom's pad, I'm used to old Mexicanos. You know, they got the old school statues of the Virgin. They got
the papas on the stove. And
like chorizo and papas. She's watching a novela, knitting, getting ready to go play bingo. This is what I'm used to, right? I walked in this house, and there was all types of Muslim artifacts and things of that, and it just different shit. And I was like, "Bro, is your mom? Did your mom got a bean pie on the stove? What's going on here?" Right? He was like, "Oh, bro, we're from India." I said, "What do you mean you're from India?" Right? I said, "Bro, ain't no dot on your forehead." He said, "So it was last night." I said, "Yeah, it was a whole different type of dot, though. You know what I mean? You got lucky you lived on that one." But I'm like, what's going on here? What seems to be? And what it came to be after you got done telling me, he was actually a Singh. His last name was Singh. He was from India. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a tribe out of India that have migrated heavily to the United States. They're deep in the Central Valle, out of Livingston, Merced, everywhere, Turlock. They got a deep group. I remember back in the 90s, there was also an Assyrian group in Turlock that were actually claiming Latin kings, saying they were from Chicago. We used to call them the Yabros.
Yes, a lot of like when he was on the run from the Boys Ranch.
Yeah.
That's where he went, Chicago, till he turned 18.
Yeah, there's a very deep core of Assyrians in Chicago that do identify themselves as Latin kings. And these guys were in Turlock. I remember they were the Yabros. They used to be all, "Hey, what's up, Yabro?" Right? But they weren't nothing to be fooled with. Eventually, over time, the whole family or whoever they moved, they disappeared. But they were deep for a while, and they were with the action. You know, they're with the whole different. See, in California, United States in general, we're with the gunplay, gang banging. You're gonna get hit if you go to prison. They're with a whole type of different weaponry. They're with kidnapping, strangle you, throw a bag in your head, light you on fire, throw you in fucking the river, fucking still breathing. It's just a different type of element of a mentality there, you know, because different thing. Same thing in El Salvador, man. Them guys were born with the machete in their hand. You know what I mean? They just love machetes. They love cutting you up and dropping you off on doorsteps. That's one of the things that they do. They enjoy it. They rather enjoy it. But you know what I was tripping on with this topic, Flaco, was so these dudes, I know that they were Sureños, they were Southsiders from the barrios. They went out there. Do you think they were trying to establish gangs out there still? Or do you think that they're just find themselves they just are all tattooed down?
It's all they know, bro. I you know, one book that people have probably read, right? You probably read The Four Agreements, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you read the introduction. It talks about domestication. It talks about how you adapt to your environment of where you live and everything. When you come into this world, you don't know shit. You're a baby. So everything comes, you're learned, you're taught, and everything. And the thing that influences that is people, places, and things. Your family, your friends, the school, the community. So when these guys come in here and they're growing up in the country, yeah, they have their culture at home where they still practice whatever rituals that they practice. But when they're going to school, they're going into these schools that are majority Hispanically ran. So you're going to be domesticated in that environment, and you're going to adapt to be just like that because every kid just wants to fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then once you establish your foothold of who you are in that group, you're going to have a whole line of other soldados that come right after. And that's why they've been able to be established out there. I mean, as far as Syria, I don't see where I can see them trying to set up shop because they're taking some of the but at the same time, I think they could learn some things too over there.
Oh yeah.
When it comes, because I mean, they have organized crime over there. They have different types of gangs and so forth. So maybe they bring a whole different element out there that's a little bit different than what they're used to. So I could see them. It's just like there was a hood that was established in Canada, a North Daniel hood, believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was.
What I'm saying? And once you establish it, you can bring what you learn in California or whatnot into the environment, just like what MS-13 did. They went to fucking El Salvador and they took all the stuff that they learned over there in Hollywood. You know what I mean? And took it over there, and they fucking look at their gang now. They've just literally blown up.
Well, a lot of people don't understand. Even in El Salvador, the majority of their leadership are from LA. The majority of their leadership, because they got that heavy, the South Side influence, the Chicano influence, the Norteño influence, the Cholo influence, is always going to be what people look to when they think of gangbanging. Okay, as far as in the Hispanic side, the Mexican side. And anyone that grows up in that culture, in that area, I'm going to identify with that. You got a big influx, and we've talked about it, and I've never done nothing on it. I was thinking about doing some on it, but we'll talk about it right here. Japan. Japan is heavily influenced by the lowrider culture, the Chicano culture. I seen several pictures of vatos with LA tattooed on their head. These vatos ain't never been out of.
And they dress female too, bro. Hey, the guys, man, they're fucking all female dressed like perfect. Like I'm like thinking in my head, like fuck, man, I wish I dressed like that when I was younger. Like their shit's perfect.
I just seen a video. Was it yesterday or the day before it came across my feed? They were actually wearing red pañuelos, and I was like, oh shit, they're banging out there like that. But I don't think that they're necessarily banging sul.
I read an article, and I'll tell you what they do. A lot of those guys are doctors.
Yeah,
fucking all kinds. They have a professional career, bus drivers, and so forth. They're into the culture and they like to do it on the weekend. Believe it or not, it's fucking crazy. They're all tatted down and they're doctors and shit, bro. Like it's kind of just something like even their kids will dress like it. They'll take family portraits. They're just into that culture part.
But what happens, see, and that's how it starts off, right? But what happens is eventually someone comes from the United States over there and sees that as a way to start influencing younger cats into thinking that, hey, we can make a racket out of this. We can make money off of this. We could fucking push this. And next thing you know, you're going to have Norteños and Sureños over there in Japan. Real ones, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what if you can't speak the language or whatever. Hey, once you're established right there, it is what it is, man. You know what I
mean? In the early 90s, right?
Yeah.
Around, I say 92, right? We had one homeboy I've always spoke about who was a fucking hitter and rider from my hood, right? Little man, Armando. My homeboy even came on. Toto came on my live one time and said, yeah, the shit with fucking Armando is like it's movie theater. People wouldn't understand it. Yeah. The motherfucker was with the business. He went over there to Mexico City around like 92, and he started pulling dudes in where he grew up at as homeboys from our hood. He was sending us pictures back in 92 of them throwing up fours and fucking, you know what I'm saying, the AM and all that. One of them ended up coming back to the States. You know what I'm saying? So you can take the culture from here and really have an influence because in the rest of the world's eyes, you know what I'm saying? Well, you kind of got China's kind of the trendsetter right now, but as far as all the other stuff, though, the United States is pretty much the trendsetter.
Yeah,
and particularly California, man.
Well, when you think of gangs, automatic, and I'm not just saying this because we're from California. When you think gangs, you think California.
Yeah,
that's right off the top. And this is not to belittle anyone like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Washington, Oregon, all these different West Coast and Southwestern states, and of course the East Coast. Man, they've been doing it for longer than everybody else. But when you think about gangs, you think California. That's the hub. That's headquarters for gangs, right? And whether it be Africanos, whites. I mean, even and of course Mexicans. It's gang 101 central, right? That's just what it is. So everybody looks to. I remember even on the East Coast, I got locked up. I was a youngster, went on the run for the murder, and got caught up in North Carolina, Ashburn, North Carolina. And all these people talked about, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. That's all they knew was the music, but they knew the gangster music. You know, they weren't asking me if I knew some fucking. It was all gang related. You know, Dr. Dre, and I was like, yeah, I know him. Right? You know what I mean? I was playing it out. But at the end of the day, it's just weird that California's looked at like that as the gang hub. But it was
you know what? There's a little bit, man. There's some things that it's advantage to our advantage being from California.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Females from other states. You know what I'm saying? They all on you if you're from Cali, bro. Straight up.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, I mean, I've heard them say, "Oh, I've never been with a Cali guy." They just want to be with a Cali guy. You know what I mean?
About to be tonight, shit. I'm gonna tell you.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality of it, man. But the Assyrians, man, those dudes were they were fucking off the hook though in that video, man. I mean, it's an entertaining video, bro.
I tripped off that video because they were out there getting it. You know what I mean? Basically, they're out there. It's funny because they're throwing up their hood, they're gang banging. Only they're doing it, I guess, for their head. That one thing I learned about Armenians is not only are they dedicated to their hood and their body. I'm talking about the ones here in LA, but they're also never forget their roots. They're Armenian through and through. They're still dedicated to the people. So that's why those guys were fighting that guerrilla war over there for their people, you know. Everyone will be on the front lines. Everybody will make their presence felt.
You know, they will definitely. That's one thing like you don't want to do. You don't want to joke too much, you know, because some people like to make little I guess racial jokes sometimes. You don't joke with these cats. They'll flip on you, man.
Yeah, they'll fuck around and
kidnap you. They ain't playing, man. Like everybody has a little bit of pride. You know what I'm saying? So but with these guys, man, I was looking at them. I was like, fuck, I'd hate to run into these guys on the streets. These motherfuckers were just off the hook, bro.
Hey, I've never once heard anything bad about Armenian power. In fact, anyone that's ever tapped in with me has said in the LA County jails, in prison, that them fools are just with the fucking activities.
Their numbers, they're still out there, right? They're still stashed, but their numbers went down because of the deportation.
Indictment. Yeah. Well, the
indictment. And the
indictment. They had like 90 of them got indicted. Yeah. And I think out of the 96 or 95 that got indicted, like almost all of them, you know, got sent. Like one thing about those people, they stand strong. They keep their fucking mouth shut, bro. They all took their cases. Every one of them, you know what I mean? And that's very rare, man. You know, usually, and I'm going to keep it real, man. And I'm not trying to belittle my people at all, but you got 50 Mexicans caught up, man. 32 of them, they're going to have some more. You know, just fuck that, eh? You know what I mean? That's just how it is. But out of the 96 that got indicted, one died and the other 95 took their case. So what does that tell you about them statistics? They're different type of people, man. They're true believers in their gente. They're true believers in their cause, and it's showing. And to be out there in Syria, man, fighting for those dispel any rumors, yes, they are in Syria. Did they do it by choice? No, they were deported to Syria, and they continue to represent their body, and they continue to represent for the people. That's a fact, man. Videos out there, you know. Anyways, with that being said, man, I just wanted to touch on that topic, chop it up with Flaco. We're right here on the Rojo Room. We've taken over. Rojo doesn't even know.
I had to wear my red shirt.
I'm gonna drop this shit on this shit. I don't care, man. I might just take this channel, period. Just change everything on them.
We're gonna lock them out right now.
Like Flaco did before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did.
Bang, bang. Anyways, with that being said, man, this is the Rojo Room. Tap in, man. Real talk with Flaco. He's going to be getting a live in here. Make sure that you guys tap in with that. And you already know, mañana, I'm coming harder than motherfucking fish tails. Or what is? I don't even know what that meant, but I said
fish scales. Fish scales or scales?
I don't even know what the fuck I said. Fish tails, I said. Something like that. Anyways, gracias, gente. For me and Flaco, we're out. This is the Rojo Room. Good Lord.